चालू करो।
दोन मिनिटं रॅगिंग बोलतो सर प्रिन्सिपल सर नाही फोनवर बोलतो म्हटलं स्टार्ट करायचं वगैरे ओके सर स्क्रीनवर
एकदम चांगलं
छान पाणी वगैरे लागलं तर सांगा चेक करायचं होतं असं काही 8 किलो जो माझ्या केलं वरचा 360 डिग्री उठलं होतं उठवलं होतं पण जेवढं मागला काय ते चेक करायचं सेकंड फ्लोर नाही बरोबर आहे पण आपल्याला त्याचा यूज आहे का नाही आहे फक्त मग स्टोर होतं प्रिव्हियस पेपर अच्छा ठीक आहे तेव्हा सिम कार्ड आहे दिवसांनी बघायला पाहिजे. तेवढं नाही ठीक आहे ते स्लो व्हायला पाहिजे. ठीक आहे आता नाही करता येत म्हणजे मला विचारलं तर मला सांगता येत. शोध होत नाही. प्रिव्हियस रेकॉर्डिंग बघतो. प्रिव्हियस रेकॉर्डिंग नाही होत. चालतंय सर मी बोलतो नंतर थोडं. ठीक आहे 3 मिनिटं राहिले फोन लावतो. हाँ कैसा चालू कर देना. 3 मिनट बाकी है 3 या 2 मिनट बाकी है. अच्छा सर हाँ सर बैठे जस्ट बोल रहा हूँ 11 बजे स्टार्ट करेंगे. थैंक यू सर. हाँ 11 बजे.
काका कुठे आहे?
खाली खाली आले मी त्याला पुन्हा खाली असतो इथं लावले सगळं विजय म्हणत
काका मग ते बिस्किटाचा एक डबा छोटा आहे माझा आणि इन्सुलिन घेतलं ना जरा पॉवरफुल असतं ते.
हो हो घेऊन येतो मी बिस्किट.
तुम्ही दुसऱ्याला सांगा तो घेऊन येईल. बिस्किटाचा डबा आहे छोटा.
हो
हे सोडून द्या.
2 मिनिट आहे ते करतील सर बिस्किट डब्बा आणि ते
बिस्किट डब्बाच फक्त.
बिस्किट डब्बा हा तेवढंच आहे तेवढं तीच 5 मिनिटं येते एकच मिनिट चालू. नाही कमी करायचं सांगितलं.
अरे प्रवीण त्या दिवशी तू का आला नाहीस रे? तसं नाही त्या दिवशी तुला बोलवलं होतं ना मी इकडं. त्या दिवशी का आला नव्हता तू? कशा करता मला न भेटता? मी तुला सांगितलं होतं ये म्हणून मी मीटिंग ठेवली म्हणून. मग काही करतो मनानच करतो काहीतरी. माणसानं किती व्यवस्थित वागायला पाहिजे काय एवढं साधं कडशी समजत नाही तुला. सगळे लोक आलेले आहेत, तुझी वाट बघत बसून तू परस्पर निघून गेला. काय तुला वाटलं तसं निघून जाण्याचं कारण काय? कोणत्या कॉलेजला जायचं होतं? कॉलेजला आले होते मग त्याला थांबले असते. असं काय वेळ आहे का काय तुम्हाला? तू ढवळतो सगळे लोक वाट बघायला लागले, तू गायब झाला कुठं काय मुलांना काय सांभाळ पुस्तक द्यायचे होतं. कारण तरी काय तर नाही सर त्यांचे काहीतरी वेळासारखं करतो बरं. पुन्हा तुझं काही खबरबात नाही, पुन्हा कॉन्टॅक्ट नाही, संपर्क नाही, काय नाही. काम करण्याची पद्धती असते कसली कुठं. आता 1 वाजता या तुम्ही, 1 नाही 12:30. हा बोल बोल बोल. कुठं चाललं बोलायला येणार नाहीच का आता? म्हणजे तू सोडून दिलंस काय नोकरी? मग ठीक आहे मग, ठीक आहे पुन्हा. अरे भेटून होते काय, 4 माणसं बोलवले असतात. मी मीटिंग मध्ये तुझा हजेरी पाहिजे काय वेळा काय बोलतो? हा मला एकट्याला भेटून काय करणार आहे? काय भोजन करायचं का आपण दोघांना? हा सकाळी, उद्या सकाळी. हो जमलं का? नाही नाही जमलं. जाऊ ना म्हणून
माझं काय आहे ते पुढचं वगैरे मला काही नाही असं म्हणा. देवला साहेबांनी सांगितलं पण नाही. मी म्हणजे साहेबाला बोलतो म्हणजे आहे साहेबाचा नंबर लावतो. सगळ्यांना बोललो, बिराला बोललो, मुख्याला बोललो, सगळ्यांना बोललो आणि येतो म्हणणार.
Good morning, all.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
Good morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
It gives me immense pleasure to extend a very warm welcome on the behalf of Mauli College of Pharmacy. We have crowded all of us for the celebration of one of our great event, that is International Women's Day, which is celebrated by every year on 8th March. So on the occasion of that, Mauli College of Pharmacy has organized a national webinar on the topic, that is the role of technique in drug discovery and innovations. डबल आवाज आहे. जो बोलले ना परत रिपीट मला यायला. I am Mr. Jalappa Biradar, Assistant Professor, Mauli College of Pharmacy, Kondar, Udgir, and I feel privileged to welcome all of us on the behalf of organizing committee of Mauli College of Pharmacy, Kondar, Udgir. So I welcome our today's function chief guests and patrons, that is one of डबल फरक
हाँ आया है। ओके सर, मेरा आवाज आ रहा है सर? इधर आ रहा है ना इसके अंदर? हेलो,
येतोय आवाज तुमचा.
येतोय का सर? आदित्य सर आवाज येतोय?
हो सर येतोय आवाज.
हा, सरांचा आला पाहिजे. इतक्या वेळ होतो. ओके, आता माझं कनेक्ट केलंय सर. दिसतंय सर व्यवस्थित?
दिसतंय. तरी माझं इंट्रोडक्शन करून मला सांगायला पाहिजे.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
बोल. हेलो सर, सर का आवाज आ रहा?
हेलो.
हाँ ओके ओके सर, इंट्रोडक्शन वगैरह दो और सर से बात करो सर. एक मिनट. हाँ
आवाज आ रहा है क्या?
हाँ, येतोय सर, आवाज येतोय त्यांना. स्पीकर टाकतो. बोलिए सर, आप सर को. हाँ गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
हाँ गुड मॉर्निंग. गुड मॉर्निंग.
हाँ सर, मैं जस्ट प्रोग्राम स्टार्टिंग कर रहे हैं.
करो. लेट अस स्टार्ट प्रोग्राम इमीडिएटली. नो डिले प्लीज.
ओके सर, ओके. जस्ट 2 मिनट्स सर.
ओके.
2 मिनिटं वाटत. 2 मिनिटं तोपर्यंत एक. सर
मोबाईल सेट करतात असेल मोबाईल सेट करा.
नाही हे झालंय सर. नाही ते झालंय सर.
जसं काय मोदी कधी
फोन ठेवलेला आहे त्याच्यामुळे इको होते.
Welcome, Dr. V.K. Patil sir, today's chief guest and patron. Dr. V.K. Patil sir, founder of Mauli College of Pharmacy, Udgir. Sir also acted as a former vice chancellor, Marathwada Agricultural University, Perhani, Maharashtra. And sir also as a Indira Gandhi Agricultural University, Raipur, Chandigarh. Sir also as a former vice president, Association of Indian University, New Delhi. This is one of a great privilege for us, sir, with us. So I would like to request Dr. V.K. Patil sir a few words about the today's webinar, sir.
Good morning to everybody. I am V.K.
Good
Patil.
morning.
I am V.K. Patil, patron of the society. On behalf of the patron of the society, I extend to all of you very warm, hearty and cordial welcome for today's program. Today's program is webinar entitled Role of Techniques in Drug Discovery and Innovations. Dr. Rupam Devalia, all worthy delegates, respected teachers, and my dear students. Since the dawn of the industrial era, natural resources on this planet are being rampantly exploited in the name of social, economic, and industrial development without leaving scope for the earth to restore its natural state. Nature is being continuously exploited in order to meet the material needs of the people and to make money. In the last 3 to 4 decades, there has been a dramatic acceleration in this exploitation due to globalization, competition, and market demand for the amenities required for an ultra-modern, comfortable, and luxurious lifestyle. But these developments are taking place at the cost of depletion of the natural resources, which are essential for sustaining life on this planet. If the speed of consuming and exhausting natural resources remains the same, our coming generation will stay deprived of the essential required for life. There will be existential crisis and threat to planet itself. In view of this, the concept of sustainability and sustainable development are being promulgated at the international level by UNESCO. Sustainability in this context is the development that fulfills the needs of the present generation while guaranteeing the balance between social well-being, economic growth, and environmental protection so that the needs and well-being of the future generation are not compromised. You know, in the year 2000, a 3-day Millennium Summit of World Leaders held in New York at the headquarters of United Nations the UN General Assembly proclaimed the Millennium Declaration, from where the Millennium Development Goals originated. The 8 Millennium Development Goals mainly focused on reducing extreme poverty by 2015, among other things. On seeing the impact of MDGs, which were targeted only till 2015, and also in view of urgent need to take care of the planet Earth, in June 2012, the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where the member states adopted the document. The name is The Future We Want, in which they decided, inter alia, to launch a process to develop a set of sustainable development goals that is commonly called as SDGs by upgrading MDGs, and to establish United High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. In January 2015, the General Assembly began the negotiation process on the post to 2015, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit held in May 2015. It came out with 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development with 17 SDGs at its core. So in all, there are 17 SDGs. The 17 goals of the new agenda of the United Nations are: goal number 1, end poverty in all its forms. Goal 2, end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Goal 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. This is the goal which we are concerned now. Goal 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Goal 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. So today is 8th of March and it is International Women Day. So 5th goal is very important in that connection. This way, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and up to 17th goals are very important. And these goals have about 169 targets. The Sustainable Development Goals, that is SDGs, are the blueprint for achieving a better and sustainable future for all. The SDGs came into force with effect from 1st January 2016. The SDGs are a comprehensive list of global goals integrating social, economic, and environmental dimensions of development. Moreover, SDGs are universal for all nations, developing and least developed, interconnected and individual, and hence necessitate comprehensive and participatory approaches in bringing everybody together so that no one is left behind. Countries are primarily responsible for following up and reviewing the progress made in implementing the goals and targets at the national level till 2030. The Sustainable Development Goals provide an international framework to move by 2030 towards more equitable, peaceful, resilient, and prosperous societies while living within sustainable planetary boundaries. The SDGs are not legally binding, but become de facto international obligations and have potential to reorient domestic spending priorities of the countries up till 2030. Countries are expected to take ownership and establish a national framework for achieving these goals. Implementation and success will depend on countries' own sustainable development policies, plans, and programs. The 2030 Agenda also underscored the fact that quality, reliable, and disaggregated data would be needed for a measurement of progress on the targets for ensuring that no one is left behind. India is committed to implement SDGs based on nationally defined indicators responding to national priorities and needs. In this effort towards integrating SDGs into countries' ongoing national and sub-national policies and programs at national level, NITI Aayog has mapped the SDGs, which centrally sponsored programs of different central ministries and departments. The integrated nature of 2030 Agenda requires government to work across policy silos and set ambitious and interrelated economic, social, and environmental objectives that go beyond short-term political cycles. Government of India is working with approach to strategic visioning, priority setting, and implementation. The Government of India is strongly committed to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Following its commitment towards achieving SDGs, government has also initiated a series of nationwide welfare and development programs. The government is committed to ensuring Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas in the spirit of Sustainable Development Goals motto of leaving no one behind. So this was regarding SDGs, which is very important for us. Now, let me share with you about the importance of research. Research, innovation, discovery, all are synonymous. Should be the integrated part of any development. The quality of higher education is the most crucial factor for deciding the future of any country, and it is necessary for constant review of the research status, both in terms of quantity and quality and relevance, especially in developing countries like India. Comparison of India's research and innovation investment with the international standards shows huge gap in India's research and innovation investments. In the global ranking, the score for research is the primary factor for consideration, which explains the reason for the lower rank for India compared to institutions of other developed and developing countries. There is a ever-increasing need for thought-provoking multidisciplinary research for creating new knowledge ecosystem in this country of great diversity of all types. NEP 2020 has laid out a policy plan for improving the quality of research and innovation through the National Research Foundation, NRF, which will work towards seeding, funding, coordinating, and monitoring research. We have moved through different waves of innovations in the past and currently traversing across the fifth wave of innovation like digital networks, biotechnology, information, and software technology. At the present, goal is to move with the sixth wave of innovation towards sustainability, radical resource productivity, full system design, green chemistry, industrial sociology, industrial psychology, renewable energy, green nanotechnology, and many indigenous technologies. The participation of researchers in the process of developing an advanced knowledge-based society requires clear and dedicated efforts to foster research and technological development, crucial to the development of the country's innovative capacities. We will have to imbibe the best practices to have research of global standards in order to prove worthy of carrying brand image of the institution of higher learning. The institution of higher learning have a great role to play in creating new knowledge and disseminating the same. That is the reason why all teachers have to be good researchers. All teachers have to be good researchers and also can be abreast of the latest development in his or her field of specialization and can function as a major conductor for elucidating and transmitting knowledge not only to the current students but also to the society in general. In addition, it is also necessary that the faculty and students do not confine themselves to their ivory towers of learning, but reach out to address vital social needs through extension and research publications, linkages and interactions with industries and community add relevance to higher education as they ensure graduates to acquire knowledge to make them a job providers as well as job seekers. Maintenance of productive research requires a conducive research environment and a pool of talented researchers. To improve research quality and output, it is vital to recruit staff of the highest caliber. Faculties will be expected to lead research initiatives designed to build staff expertise so as to enhance the quality of educational outcomes. All faculty members and students should be encouraged to the mission of knowledge creation through various initiatives, that is innovation. This can be done by innovating pure and applied research and acting like think tank on regional and national issues. Research output has to be enhanced to meet the challenges of becoming a world-class institution with strong collaborative linkage with industry and other research organizations. Man comes to grips with his environment and understands the nature through experience, reasoning, and research. Research is a systematic, controlled, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical propositions about the presumed relations among natural phenomena. It is a combination of both experience and reasoning and must be regarded as the most successful approach of the discovery of the truth. It is a process of arriving at dependable solution to problems through planned and systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation of data. All disciplines should have a community engagement dimension in their curriculum and research thrust, which will encompass cognitive, affective, and behavioral domains, as well as physical and health concerns for individuals, families, and society in general. On every 1,000 children born in our country, that is India, nearly 80 die before they reach the age of 1 year. Expectancy has increased. Infant mortality remains unacceptably high, as does the population growth. Preventable and the newer diseases also take the toll. More than 40,000 children in India become blind each year due to lack of vitamin A. Just like industrial revolution, in business enterprises, our generation is witnessing knowledge revolution, resulting in knowledge economy and information explosion. Knowledge creation, the responsibility of higher education. Knowledge has already become the key to productivity, competitive strength, and economic development. Knowledge has become the primary industry, the industry that supplies the economy, the essential and central resource of production. The knowledge economy index is the average of the performance scores of a country or region in all four knowledge economy pillars, that is economic, incentive regime, education, innovation, and infrastructure. Information infrastructure. Research plays a vital role in knowledge economy, which in turn develop in the country's economy. In developing economies, we find research is lagging behind because of inadequate funding and the low priority given to research. In developing countries, the major obstacles being research are paucity of funds and faulty channelization of available funds, lack of production of available research materials and resources, and difficulties encountered in accessing required equipment, non-availability of networking of up-to-date information, lack of advanced training to scientists, lack of financial support to attend conference seminar, lack of proper transfer of technology, lack of adequate exchange program, and many lacks, and erratic release of funds, etc., etc. We have to therefore think about how we can build up an is a good research base. We need to get more people interested in research and make them passionate about it. Then only we can get more people participate in research activities. It is not enough to increase the number of research projects, but also think about improving the quality of research. Therefore, we should be actively involved in promoting research activities by identifying the real bottlenecks and countering the problems by the active involvement of stakeholders. Different problems are given. All these can be accomplished only by having a vision for research promotion, which leads to further action. We need to focus on getting a political commitment to get the necessary financial and political support. The political system needs to be convinced about the benefits of the research agenda the institutions are planning and wanting to implement. We also need to get the cooperation from all the stakeholders. Since we realize the knowledge is the real wealth for the future generation, we need to invest in the building blocks of Indian innovations by creating strong R&D base and build a leadership. We need to promote student achievements and careers in science, technology, mathematics. We need to develop an advanced information technology ecosystem by expanding access to broadband, which is a key input for rural economic development. Internet is the ultimate level playing field, making possible the widest and most lucrative variety and entrepreneurial activity and innovation that the world has ever seen. It is imperative that we support research, not research for next generation in information and communication. We should not lag behind the next wave of innovation through ICT revolution, dealing with cognitive radios, quantum computing, cyber physical systems. We also need to identify cyber society as natural priority to ensure that a digital communication infrastructure is sufficiently resilient and trustworthy. We need to encourage innovation through game-changing research and development strategies by skilling, reskilling, upskilling our future workforce. Now coming to the pharmacy, which is indeed a very fascinating and excellent field, exhilarating field, your own field. You are lucky that you are in this field. This field is recession proof, I should say. No entrenchment we can see here. This has got highest growth rate, about 14 to 15%. Pharmacy is safest for profit making. Foreign exchange earner. IT companies are diversifying. IT companies are diversifying and they are producing drugs now. Foreign companies are outsourcing their manufacturing to India. India produces largest high quality, low cost generic drugs. From India, more than 50% of pharma graduates go to US, UK, Australia and developed countries. More modern technology has entered into pharmacy these days. Modern technology. Now coming to today's webinar, technology has been a major driver of advances in drug discovery, automation, nanofluidics, imaging, software and assay technologies have played a major role in getting better data faster. Technology innovation is critical to the improvement of drug discovery process. The drug discovery process covers a broad range of disciplines from genomics and target discovery to preclinical testing. Within this space, there are a variety of hardware, software, and biological technologies. Probably the best definition is that an innovation must be at least a substantial improvement and not a small change over what is currently available. Then I try to give you some example of past innovation. In spite of being used commercially as a diagnostic tool, it had limited success in drug discovery because it used a test tube format. I was talking about fluorescence, fluoroscopization, FP, that is called FP. When Biosystems launched the analyst microplate reader for in the latter part of 1990, the method gained widespread and success in drug discovery. While FP itself was not a new technique, development of hardware combined to make it an innovative product. The introduction of acoustic dispensing stand as an important innovation. The ECO made nano dispensing much more robust and practicable for drug discovery, from compound dispensing to assay assembly on automated systems. Innovation or lack of it results from the closely linked relationship between technology availability and both market need and market condition. It is a cycle that requires a market that is receptive to new technologies and vendors who take the risk of delivering these technologies. The growth of maturation of high throughput screening, that is HTS, is a good example of how need drives innovation. Throughout 1990s, there was a technology need in HTS to meet very aggressive throughput goals. Screening 100,000 compounds a day became a widely accepted target. At the time, this was a challenge, but it was not the only goal. The throughput would not be sustainable unless it was combined with dramatically lower cost and high quality data. The willingness of pharmaceutical companies to work with vendors and gamble on a range of developing technologies gave vendors the incentive to take risk in researching, licensing, and developing products. The advances taken for granted today include reliable automation, SBS standards for microplates, homogeneous assay technologies, multi-detector readers, imaging hardware, software, liquid handling, database and pattern recognition software, and development of skills in process control that brought throughput the quality HTS. By the early part of 2000s, large amount of time and money by technology providers and pharmaceutical companies in the development and implementation of innovative technologies. Vendors now saw an immediate return, and more companies were drawn to this lucrative market. They could reduce the number of people in STES labs as a result of automation and move more compounds into development. But the long time frame of drug development preceded a rapid quantifiable return on investment. In the drug discovery area, management wanted proof that past investments were paying off before continuing to fund technology. There is still need for improvement in STS, but there are more important places in focus. Approximately 50% of drug candidates fail in phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials because of toxicity or lack of efficacy. The development of physiologically relevant target assays and cell-based models are more critical than incremental improvements in cost and efficiency of STS. The need of drug discovery are changing, and so must focus of investment. There is a critical change and will have a major impact on where technology developers apply their resources for the next wave of innovation. The current situation, while there were signs of recovery after the economic downturn of the early 2000s, the atmosphere for new technology remained decidedly guarded. Just as there is a long lag phase from drug discovery to an approved drug, there is also a lag between R&D and commercial product. Until there are signs that consumers are ready to invest in new products, vendors will delay their investment in R&D. There are investments being made, but most of these are in low risk, short time to market products and not innovation. The cycle of innovation referred to earlier has been badly damaged and needs time to reestablish again. There is still innovation. While there is still concern about the uphill battle to develop and market innovative products, it has not ceased altogether. There are a number of examples that could be used, but let us focus on some examples. As much as homogeneous fluorescent methods have advanced drug discovery, they do not have universal application, and there is always the inherent damage that labels or conjugated molecules of any type will change the interaction being measured. For these reasons, along with the expense of labeling time, there has been considerable activity in the search for reproducible and inexpensive label-free technologies. One of these promising technologies is backscattering interferometry, BSI. Interferometry as an optical measuring method has a long history of theoretical background and used in academic and industrial settings. However, BSI is significantly different and innovative. The method is based on measuring the shift in the interference fringe pattern that results from binding events on a CCD camera. The drive toward greater sensitivity and miniaturization has been a goal in drug discovery and diagnosis. Advances made in the broad field of nanotechnology are being applied to this application. The field of nanotechnology covers everything from material science, consumer product, supercomputing, single atom manipulation, single molecule measurements on carbon nanotubes. It's a field worth watching for some groundbreaking advances. The microplate format has become the default standard for drug discovery. The infrastructure and investment built around this format is substantial and almost irreplaceable. The components of an automated STS system can add up to millions of dollars, and expensive as these systems are, they are dwarfed by the cost of storage and distribution system for millions of compounds in the corporate library. This kind of investment is not easy to displace or replace. There are numerous examples of technologies that do not fit STS but have been very successful in profiling and lead optimization. STS is very profitable for vendors, but not the only place in drug discovery where innovation can be successful. The dominance of the microplate infrastructure is an issue that many technology companies, startups, and venture capitalists have to seriously evaluate in that they develop the fund. Innovation is a cycle, and as much as its peak and trough, it has got peaks and troughs also. While this trough is particularly prolonged, it is not permanent. Innovation is still occurring. It is coming, but perhaps at a slower pace and in past years, and perhaps in different areas of drug discovery. Advances in seemingly unrelated disciplines of academic research can find application in unanticipated market. Drug discovery has always drawn from advances from other fields, and as long as there are entrepreneurs in large companies or startups, innovation will always be a part of drug discovery. It may be riskier than before, but it is still a rewarding and very exciting adventure. Friends, with the coronavirus pandemic stressing the need for innovation more than ever before, there is renewed hope within the pharma sector of R&D policy being finally announced. The draft R&D policy finalized by the Government of India highlights funding for innovation for pharma and medtech, strengthening the R&D infrastructure, creation of innovation hubs like Singapore, Boston, San Francisco, and industry academy collaboration. India, being the pharmacy of the developing world, now needs to move up the value chain. Innovation should be supported, as this is going to be fundamental for the healthcare industry. Technology-driven innovative healthcare solutions have played a pivotal role in fighting the COVID crisis world over. Friends, 8th May is International Women's Day. And I'm happy to share with you the recent news which appeared in the newspaper, yesterday's newspaper only. This is regarding women outdid men in civil services examination, UPSC. The success rate of women candidates who reached the conclusive interview stage of the civil service examination in 2019 in getting recommended to the civil service by the UPSC improved by 14%, 14.6% from 14.2%. In comparison, only 7% of the male candidates who appeared for the interview after clearing the main examination were recommended. That means male candidates recommended were 7% and female candidates recommended were 14.6%. The highest selection rate of women vis-a-vis men and qualified for the interview cuts across all categories like general, SC, ST, OBC, economically weaker sections. That means this trend is everywhere seen, that girls getting more success than boys. This is one point. Another which I read just yesterday, that is Shobha Day. You know this, that is very eminent journalist, Shobha Day. She writes, International Women's Day this year is likely to assume special significance, given how irrevocably our lives have changed since the deadly Corona-19 virus cut humanity down to size exactly 2 years ago. Never have envisaged, but we survived, we coped, we soldiered, and we are here, counting our blessings for being alive. On a day-to-day basis, women are forced to realign their perspectives, play down their needs, and play up to set stereotypes formulated by the society. Every waking moment is a tightrope walk as we nimbly go from one side to the other, crossing turbulent waters and praying we don't lose our balance and midway and drown. No woman is spared. No one. But here is the side. It is these very challenges that make us stronger. She says that it is these challenges which make women stronger. Friends, during the harrowing days of Corona pandemic, which we witnessed, we were deeply moved as every day we came across human suffering from dawn to dusk. It was very painful to see human heartbreaking tragedy continuously for near about 2 years worldwide. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit the world at a scale and speed that we have only seen so far in doomsday movies. The country of ours, 130 million heterogeneous population, had reported about 3.70 crore affected by the virus, with over 4.5 lakh deaths. The pandemic taught us one thing that we should not forget. It is to value ourselves, our life, our health, our time, our precious relationship. The risk taken, we should not forget about this also, that the risk taken and hard work put in by selfless frontline workers were exemplary. The world will never forget their dedication. To learn to live with it is to accept and adjust to required changes. To learn is to be humble. To learn to live with the virus is also to move from hubris to humility. Hubris to humility. Arrogance to humility, namrata, humility. It is only natural that a crisis as global and seminal as the COVID-19 pandemic ushers in all-round changes on this planet. On this planet, there were all-round changes. Recovering from COVID, from those affected in the second wave, has not been easy. We distinctly remember the second wave. Apart from the unfortunate many who have either died or suffered terribly before eventually emerging from the illness, the pandemic in its second coming has left deep and enduring psychological scars on virtually everyone else. Friends, waves of catastrophe will keep hitting us, but now we have one magic lamp which is wonderful, that is with us. We have woken up to a universal connection that has kept us going, kept us alive. Great feeling of oneness. The world was in this together dealing with a life-threatening crisis for the very first time in recorded history. It made everyone appreciate the connectedness of existence. We shared knowledge, we shared sorrow, we shared pain, we shared hope, and now we will share triumph, and we will share now love. I therefore finally, lastly, sincerely seek God's blessings to continue this spirit amongst all of us by keeping this magic lamp ever illuminating. And thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable guidance. Sir always motivate us through their valuable guidance and such a nice informative session. Sir, in focus, I enlightened on the role of women. That is today's World International Women's Day. So that is the role of women in the society. How women are go ahead compared to men, by giving example of UPSC, that is recent updates on the yesterday's paper. Sir also enlightened and focus on the role of research and development. Sir also focus on the role of organization in rural area, that is specifically for the rural student. what efforts we have to need to take on for the development of their rural student. Sir also enlightened on the today's topic, that is the webinar topic, that is the role of techniques in the drug discovery and innovation. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable guidance. Now I will share my mic to Ms. Sheetal Shelke, ma'am, to continue the session.
Thank you, Jalappa sir. Initially, it's my pleasure to welcome you all, esteemed chief guests, principal, teachers, and all my dear students, as well as I am honored to welcome Dr. Gurudeep Singh. Thank you, sir, for giving us your precious time. Today, we are gathered here to celebrate International Women's Day. First of all, I wish all these beautiful women who are joined to this webinar Happy International Women's Day. Empowering women is empowering humanity. The International Women's Day is celebrated every year globally on 8 March. It sheds light on great achievements of women in various fields.
Jalappa sir, आले.
Repeat start करो. Thank you, Jalappa sir. Initially, it's my pleasure to welcome you all, esteemed chief guests, principal, teachers, and all my dear students, as well as I am honored to welcome Dr. Gurudeep Singh. Thank you, sir, for giving us your precious time. Today, we all gather here to celebrate International Women's Day. First of all, I wish all the beautiful women who are joined to this webinar Happy International Women's Day. Empowering women is empowering humanity. The International Women's Day is celebrated every year globally on 8 March. It sheds light on great achievements of women in various fields. Empowering women is a great responsibility at the present 21st century. It is necessary for the gender equality and social dignity. On this beautiful occasion, Maulik College of Pharmacy, Udgir, organized national webinar. The topic of this webinar, spectroscopy, a non-invasive tools in drug discovery and development. And the resource person of this webinar, Dr. Gurudeep Singh. Dr. Gurudeep Singh, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, School of Pharmaceutical Science, Lovely Professional University, Phagwara, Punjab. This completed his PhD on Jivaji University, Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh, Pharmaceutical Science. After that, the sir published total 55 international and national papers. And the sir received 2 Indian patents. Different type of award that got it, sir. They received the Dynamic Professional Award, second virtual and annual award ceremony 2021 by Indian Pharma Education Society, Lucknow, in collaboration with Pharma Twitter. Second, received Young Scientist Award 2019 at a National Pharma Conference organized by Pharmaceutical Royal International Society at Bhabha University, Bhopal. A third, awarded fellowship for training of young scientists of Madhya Pradesh Council of Science and Technology in 19 Madhya Pradesh Young Scientists Congress held at Bhopal during February 28 March 2014. Next, the sir awarded scholarship for securing third rank in M.Pharm project in year 2008 and the best M.Pharm project entitled Synthesis Tamil Nadu Pharmaceutical Science Welfare Trust as best M.Pharm project, the synthesis and in vitro anti-cancer activity of the some substituted chalcol derivatives. So I would like to call Dr. Gurudeep Singh sir to continue this session.
Thank you so much for a nice introduction. Very good morning to all. Hope I'm audible. Yeah, thank you so much, Principal Dr. Rupam Devalia sir. So I just suppose the interactions will be healthy between us. Okay, so I'm not like a thing. So the condition is that it should be having a healthy interactions with us regarding the IR spectroscopy and how we can use this IR spectroscopy, especially in the drug designing. Okay. Wait for a minute. Slides are visible.
Yes, visible.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. IR spectroscopy. This is a non-invasive tool in the drug discovery and development. So this IR spectroscopy is not a new kind of an spectroscopy. It is a very old method of spectroscopy by which we can find out the functional groups in the compound, in organic compound or inorganic compound. It is mainly used for the detection of functional groups. So and second diagram shows about the drug discovery. So how we can correlate this IR spectroscopy with in the drug designing, okay? Because we know in the drug designing, whenever the drug or whenever the therapeutic drug is interact with the receptors, so it gives a pharmacological actions. So we should know about the structure of a receptors. So for the structure, for the detection of the structure of receptor, IR. So before starting of today's presentation, so first of all, a very happy Women's Day to all women, all girls. The today's girl with the ambitions are tomorrow women's with. For all women and girls and wishes a very happy Women's Day. So once we will start with the introduction of IR spectroscopy. So first of all, we should know actually what is spectroscopy. So spectroscopy is nothing whenever the matter is interact with the electromagnetic radiations. Okay, so we know the electromagnetic radiation. In the next slide, we will move. We will discuss the interactions between the matter and the electromagnetic radiations. So it generally follows the absorption spectroscopy. So it is nothing, it is the interactions between the particles in electrons, we have a protons, we have a ions. So whenever these matters are interact with the electromagnetic radiation, it gives you a changes in the collision energy. So once there is a changes in the collision energy, by using of a specific spectrograph, we can find out, okay, we can find out the functional group, we can find out the detection of various kind of an functional groups. So this is EMR, this is the electromagnetic radiation, whatever the analyte is there, what may be the changes once the matter will absorb any kind of electromagnetic radiation and different kind of an spectrograph. So like we have a different kind of spectroscopy. So it will start from the UV spectroscopy, IR spectroscopy, NMR spectroscopy, mass spectroscopy, which is generally used for detection of different kind of an elements or different kind of a peaks or different kind of an protons or atoms in the compounds. So once we are starting with the introduction of UV spectroscopy, so it generally excites the electrons. There will be a process that is known as the excitations of electron, and which we get the UV visible spectrum. While in the IR radiation, so there is a changes in the vibration. So that's why mainly we will focus about the IR spectroscopy. So IR spectroscopy is also known as the vibrational spectroscopy. Why it is known as the vibrational spectroscopy? Because once this matter is absorbed the IR radiation, which is a part of electromagnetic radiation, so vibration changes in the matter, there will be a changes in the vibration take place. So the whatever the vibrations are taking place in the matter, so we will find out in the spectra, that is known as the IR spectra. And whenever it absorbs a radio frequency, okay, whenever it absorbs the radio frequency, that is a part of a NMR spectroscopy, in which the spin is rotate. There will be a changes in the spin rotation. Okay, so we find out the changes in the spin rotation whenever the matter is subjected to a magnetic field. Okay, and we will find the NMR spectra. So it was a just introduction of a spectroscopy. Mainly we will focus about the IR spectroscopy only. So IR spectroscopy, as I just said, it is based on the absorptions. Which is generally used for the qualitative as well as the quantitative analysis. So you know the means of qualitative and quantitative analysis? How many of you know the means of qualitative and quantitative analysis? I'm especially asking to the students only. So qualitative means whatever the quality is there, and quantitative is whatever the quantity is there. So we are mentioning, we are getting the qualitative and quantitative analysis by using of this IR spectroscopy. So once the matter or any kind of a proton, neutron or ions, it generally absorbs the IR radiation. So it changes the vibrational and rotational states. Because you know the atoms are bonded with a one kind of a bond. Either it may be a covalent bond, or van der Waals forces are there, or any kind of an electromagnetic, any kind of a bond may be there. So once the atoms are bonded with the electromagnetic bonds or with the covalent bonds in the organic compound. So once it absorbs the IR radiation, so it generally alters the vibration as well as the rotational states. Right? So there are reasons of the IR spectra. So we will discuss. So this is the electromagnetic spectrum. So the electromagnetic spectrum will start from the gamma rays, X-rays, vacuum, ultraviolet, near ultraviolet, visible. Then it comes to the infrared, then microwave radio frequency. What is changing here? Okay, what is changing here? Here the wavelength is decreasing, or we can say it goes from the downward to upward, from the longer wavelength to the shorter wavelength, or we can say it gives the higher energy from the radio frequency to the gamma ray. So the difference is that whenever we will find out in the UV range, so there will be a shorter wavelength. You know the range of UV spectroscopy, UV visible spectroscopy is from 200 to 400 nanometer, while in the IR it will be start from 667 centimeter up to the 4000 centimeter. So IR infrared spectra, which generally causes the molecular vibration. So this is the very important thing. It generally causes the molecular vibrations. So in the IR is also further divided into 3 types. Okay, this is the near IR, mid IR, and the far IR. But we mainly, the diagnostic range, the diagnostic regions between this IR is the mid IR region, which is from the 4,000 centimeter to 667 centimeter inwards. Okay, this 4,006 or to 667 centimeter is the wave number. Okay, and 2.5 to 15 micron is the wavelength. So once we will convert this wavelength into the wave number, okay, we will find the value. So all of the functional group, either it may be an alcoholic group, or it may be a phenolic hydroxyl group, or it may be an amino group, or it may be a carboxyl group, aldehyde group, whatever the functional group is there, you will be detected in this range, in this mid IR region, that is from 4,000 centimeter to 667 centimeter. Right? Might be some of you have known about the instrumentation part and the basic principle of IR spectroscopy. So we will not focus on the instrumentation part of IR spectroscopy. I will give you the outline, but mainly we will focus about their applications in the drug discovery and the drug development. Okay, so the principle of IR spectroscopy is follows. Okay, it's a very simple. Okay, so this is the ball. Ball is nothing. It's kind of an atom. And these atoms are linked with a spring. Spring, that is spring, it's like a covalent bond. Okay. So if you have a spring, some of you have used the pen, the spring pen that we have used in our previous time. Okay. So the spring was there. Okay. So if you will scratch this spring, okay, or if you will bend this spring, right? So either 2 things are there. Either you are scratching this spring or you are bending this spring. So the principle of IR spectroscopy is completely based upon the stretching or bending of that covalent bond, or we can say the changes in the vibrations mode. Right. So the first diagram shows about the stretch, second is shows about the compress, and the third is shows about the equilibrium bond length. So whenever the specific functional groups vibrates, that is known as the natural vibration. Okay, the molecular vibration is the molecular vibration is the quantized. So we will just resemble, just you have to imagine that these atoms are like a bond and this spring is like a covalent bond. Okay, these are connected with a covalent bond, right? So the next question is that, okay, so this IR spectroscopy is also known as the vibrational rotational spectroscopy, because the vibration and rotation will be take place once a molecule, once a matter is absorbed the IR radiation. Okay, so the next question is that all the compounds will absorb the IR radiation. Question is that all the compound will absorb the IR radiation. Either yes or no, only 2 things may be there. Fine. No, very good, Mr. Sushil Kamble. Any other answer? I can check the chat box. Very good, Sushil Kamble. Any other? If you know the answer, so you can give me the answer in the chat box also. So that's why initially I just said about that it should be a healthy interactions between us. Fine, Sushil. Okay, any other? So my question is that will all the compound will absorb the IR radiation? If the answer is yes, that is okay. If the answer is no, so what is the reason why this in which compounds the molecules or a compound will absorb the IR radiation. Right, Pasare Krishna? Fine, no issue, Sushil. Okay, good. Okay, right. So, fine, right. So, whenever any compound can absorb the IR radiation in which the vibration and rotation will take place, in those compounds where there is a change in the dipole moment. Okay, whenever there is a change in the dipole moment. The next question is that what is dipole moment? Right? Next question is arise from there. What is dipole moment? Whenever the compound is absorbing the IR radiation and there is a changes in the dipole moment, then only it will be absorbed the IR region. And these type of compounds are called as the IR active transitions. While those compounds in which there will be no change in the IR, once it is absorbing the IR radiation, there will be no change in the dipole moment. So that compound are known as the IR inactive compound. Okay. So we can we may have one kind of an example. So, okay, I will give you two examples like that. First example, I'm giving you, you can send a message in the chat box. One example, I'm giving you HCl. Right? One example, I'm giving you HCl. All of you know the name of HCl, that is known as the hydrochloric acid. And another example is that the N2, nitrogen. Which compound will absorb the IR radiation and which compound will be IR active and which compound will be IR inactive? Anyone? Anyone can give me the answer in the chat box? Fine. Right, you are giving directly message. Okay, you can send to everyone, no issue for that one. So hydrochloric acid and nitrogen is there. In the hydrochloric acid, you know the hydrogen and chlorine, right? So hydrogen and chlorine both are the atoms. So which one will be the more electronegative? Either chlorine or hydrogen. Either chlorine will be more electronegative or the hydrogen will be more electronegative. Very good. Hydrogen will be positive and chlorine is the negative. Very good, sorry, Krishna. So chlorine is more electronegative. So if it is chlorine is more electronegative, so it will try to pull all the electrons. Okay. So there will be a positive charge, delta positive charge and delta negative charge. So in this, the compound will change in the dipole moment. Okay. So then only it is known as the IR active compound. While in the nitrogen N2, there will be no change in the dipole moment. So that's why this compound will be known as the IR inactive compound. So once they absorb the IR radiation, so there will be changes in the vibration energy. So the vibration energy, whatever the changes in the vibration energy, whatever the extent in the vibration energy, it is depending only of the three things. What are the different parameters? First of all, the mass of the atom. Either it's a hydrochloric, either it's a hydrogen, chlorine, nitrogen, oxygen, whatever that is there, whatever the mass of the atom present in the molecule. Second is the strength of a bond. Covalent bond is the strongest bond. So what is the strength of the bond? And third one is the arrangement of the atom within the molecules. Arrangement of atom within the molecules means we are talking about the stereochemistry. Okay, so stereochemistry will also be a part. So the arrangement of the atom within the molecule, strength of the bond and mass of the atoms which is present in the molecules, right? So these three things are there in which will be, these are the three parameters which causes the change in the vibration energy. Fine. If you find any kind of a question, in between also you can raise your hand. In the last we will discuss that one also. Okay. So once the once the molecule or compound is absorbed IR radiation, so there will be a changes in the rotational transition, there will be changes in the vibrational transitions, and there will be changes in the electronic transitions also. So whenever the changes in the there will be changes in the place shape of a molecule, like a stretching of a bond or bending of a bond. Okay, so internal rotations around the single bond will also change, and they'll definitely it will cause a change in the dipole moment also, right? And there will be changes in the transitions or vibration energy. right? So then only the compound will be known as the IR active compounds. Okay, so we are taking about the example of this HCl. Okay, so it's having a delta positive charge and delta negative charge. Okay, there will be a changes in the electronegativity between these two atoms. If you will take a molecule of a water, okay, this is the simplest example that I can take. The molecule of a water. So water is H2O. This is the combination of two oxygen atom with the one hydrogen one oxygen atom with the two hydrogen atom, right? So this hydrogen will having a delta positive charge and oxygen will having a delta negative charge, because the oxygen is more electronegative in nature, right? Fine. So there will be a change in the there is a difference between the electronegativities of these two atoms, so it will cause the delta positive as well as the delta negative charge. So we are talking about the HCl. So HCl will be IR active while the N2 will be IR inactive, because in the HCl there will be a delta positive and delta negative charge. That's why dipole moment is changing. In the N2 there will be no difference in the electronegativities. Both the atoms are nitrogen. Okay, so that will be known as the IR inactive compounds. So you can find the IR spectra in the solutions in the solid state, in the gaseous state. Okay, you can find out the IR spectra. So if you will talk about the molecular vibration, so there are two types of specific molecular vibration. Once the molecule absorbs the radiation and it causes the vibration, changes in the vibrations. It may be a fundamental vibration or a non-fundamental vibration. Mainly we will discuss about the fundamental vibration, in which it is further divided into the stretching vibration and bending vibration, and the stretching vibration is again divided into the symmetric or asymmetric. Okay, and the bending in the in-plane bending and out of the plane bending. In the out of plane bend, in the in-plane bending, we have a scissoring and rocking. In the out of plane bending, we have a wagging and twisting also. Okay, so these are the molecular vibrations. Okay, so once we are talking about the stretching, okay, if you stretching a spring, or if you are bending a spring, so which one will take a higher energy? You just imagine, okay, imagine karo, you are stretching a spring or you are bending a spring. किसमें energy आपको ज़्यादा लगेगी? Which one will take a higher energy? Either stretching or bending. You need a higher energy when you are stretching of any spring instead of bending of a spring, right? Definitely, sorry, Krishna, very good. So it needs a higher energy. Okay, so stretching vibration come to the higher wave number, while the bending vibration will come to the lower wave number. Okay, so in the stretching, so there are two types of stretching, like a symmetric and asymmetric. If both the molecules are in the same direction, so that will be known as the symmetric. And asymmetric means when the molecule going to the upward and other ways going to the downward, means opposite directions are there. That will be known as the asymmetric. So the reasons between the stretching is between the 4,000 to 1250 centimeter inward. Okay, so this is the stretching reasons. While we are talking about the bending, okay, that already we have discussed. So in the bending, so it may be a scissoring, a whacking, it may be a twisting. So there is a small difference between these two. Okay, so the lower reason from 1200 or 1500 centimeter to 667 centimeter inward, so that is the bending reason, and that is also known as the fingerprint reason. That is also very important, right? So in the scissoring, scissor means like a canchi. Okay, in the scissoring, so there will be changes in the bond angle. Okay, this bond angle will become definitely will change. Angle will be completely changed in that. One minute. Okay, so in the bond in there, it is stretching like that. Okay, so scissoring means it will be like a scissor only, right? It will be like a scissor only. So it will give you a scissoring. It means the bond angle will be changed. While we are talking about in the rocking, okay, these are the in-plane bending, scissoring and rocking. In the rocking, okay, the movement of ion take place, atoms will take place. There will be no change in the bond angle. These are the in-plane. In the out plane means if it is like a plane, if both the molecules are moving either of the plane, either of the upward or to the downward, okay, either from the up or the down. So that will be known as the wagging. But in the twisting, one atom will be in the plane if going to the upward, another will be downward, and in the opposite direction, if one is going to the downward, another will be going to the upward. Okay, so there will be a change in the. So there is a difference between the wagging as well as the twisting also. So in this diagram we have shown you. So it has been divided into. Okay, it has been divided into the this types: stretching, symmetrical and asymmetrical, bending, scissoring, rocking, that is the inclined vibration, which causes the changes in the bond angle, and in this twisting and wagging, this is the out of plane vibration. So in this we have taken example of carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide CO2. Okay, there is a difference between the electronegativity of the carbon and this oxygen. Okay, so whether it's IR active, IR inactive, so you just have to decide whether there will be a changes in the dipole moment or not. Okay, so we can take an example of a water molecule. If the water in the water molecules, the changes in the dipole moment is taking place, then only it will be absorbed the IR radiations. So you know in the stereochemistry you all know about the C2 axis. Okay, C2 axis, you know, plane of symmetry, you know the alternative axis of symmetry. Okay, so whenever the water molecule is there, okay, if you will rotate it by the 180 degree, so you will find the same identical structure. So that is known as the C2 axis. Okay, so you will find the different kind of an spectra in the IR spectrum. Okay, either it's a perpendicular, either it's a with the plane or out of the plane. Okay, so these are some of the functional groups, like we are talking about the CH or OH. So that will be in the banding region. That will be nearly about 1500 centimeter to 677 centimeters. While we are talking about the stretching region, like a C11O or OH stretching, so that will be from 4000 to nearly 14 or 1500 centimeter. Okay, so we will look into one kind of a spectra also. So this is the spectra. You will get the spectra. This is the IR spectra is only that you will get the peak in the downward, while in the UV spectra or NS or other spectra you will find the spectra in the upward. What is the reasons for that? Because we are plotting a graph between the wave number and transmittance, while in the UV spectra we are plotting a graph between the wavelength as well as the absorbance. So there will be a changes in the absorbance. There is a difference between the changes in the absorbance as well as the transmittance. So we are determining, we are calculating, or we are observing the transmittance. So this way all the spectra will be found in the downward directions. Okay, so you will get an identical peak, especially for the different kind of functional groups. So even in a complex molecule, you can find out the different kind of a functional group, because the specific characteristic piece is specific there. Okay, so like if you will talk about how the police are investigating by the fingerprints. Okay, police are investigating of any crime by the fingerprint. So by this also the IR spectra you can find out the unknown spectra by if you are comparing with the known spectra. Okay, and the main thing is that IR spectra, if a molecule you are determining the different kind of a functional group which is used for the identification of the unknown compounds. You can compare with the known compounds also. Like if the OH group is there, if it is free, if it is not bonded with anyone, so it will give you the peak nearly 36 centimeter inwards, while NH will give you the 3400 centimeter. So if you will take an example of a benzene, okay, double bond CH is there, C single bond CH is there. So you can find out the different kind of a spectra of different kind of a functional groups. So I'm not going to the spectrophotometer. It's generally a just label diagram of the IR spectrophotometer. Okay, so there is a two type of mirror are there. Here mirror is also there. Here mirror is also there. Okay, here this is the reference and this is the sample in which you will place a sample. This is a monochromatic system. It will convert into the plane polarized light. Okay, so once it across to the reference cell or the sample cell, once it undergoes the splitter, you can find out the amplifier and you can record the IR spectra. Okay, I'm not going to the instrumentation part because it will take much more time. But the next, the updated version of the FTIR, that is known as the Fourier transform IR spectrophotometer, which is generally based on the interferometer. Okay, and it is having a more advantages as compared to the simple IR region, which will give you the more accuracy and more precision. Okay, by using of this interferometer, this is the special instrument which can read the IR frequency simultaneously, and this is the faster method as compared to the descriptive instrument. Okay, so this is the specific block diagram of the Fourier transform meter, which will give you the more accuracy and more precision as compared to the simple, or we can say the descriptive IR spectrophotometer. Okay, so now this is the basic concept of the IR and IR spectroscopy. So which having a wider application. It may be used for the identification of inorganic solvent, compound, or organic compound. It may be used for to determine the component of the unknown mixture. Also, it may be used for the determination of solids, liquid, whatever. So many things are there. Okay, so many things are there by which you can determine the. Okay, by which you can determine the. You can use this IR spectroscopy. Okay, so but we are not going to cover all the applications of this IR spectroscopy. Mainly, we are talking about in the this role of this instrument, especially in the this drug designing or drug discovery. So you know what is drug discovery? Whenever the drug is coming from the raw material into the market, okay, it is known as the drug discovery. So many steps are there. So many steps are there. So I will come to that slide later. Okay. So it is generally about the. Okay. So if you have a 5,000 to 20,000 compounds, okay, you have a 5,000 to 20,000 compound. So if you will go to the drug discovery in the preclinical, only 250 compounds will be selected. Preclinical, you know, before the clinical, we will do the experiment in the experimental animals. Okay. And once 250 from this 250 compound, only 5 compounds will become to the clinical research, and only 1 compound will be approved by the NDA that will become into the market from this 5,000 to 20. And it will take $1 billion of cost. It will take up 15 to 20 years of a compounds to be come into the market from the raw material. So now the next goal is that how we can bridge, how we can this 1 minute. Okay, how we can lower this gap, how we can reduce the cost. The aim of this discovery or the use of any kind of an instrument in the drug discovery is to find out that how we can reduce the cost, how we can reduce the time. If the 10 to 20,000 candidate drug is there, if only 1 drug is coming into the market that is approved by the NDA from different kind of step like drug discovery screening or adjuvant properties or lead optimizations or preclinical data or clinical data, okay, it will give you a one only potential new medication. So how we can implement this any kind of an instrument, especially with the IR instrument, especially to reduce the cost and to slow down to faster these reactions, and which will take a lesser time and lesser cost of a drug to come into the market. Okay, so there are a different kind of a purpose for the different kind of steps of the drug discovery. It will start from the once we are identifying the drug. Once we are drug target identification, we are doing the validation, we are doing for the lead discovery, we are doing for the lead optimization, then we are going for the preclinical and clinical data, right? But the main thing is that, okay, once we are identifying, right? Once we are identifying the drug target is what? That is the receptor. So receptor is what? That is made up of a protein. These are the proteins as in nature. These are the made up of a protein. If you will find out the structure of a protein, okay, if you want to know about the structure of a protein, so protein is kind of an polymer unit of the amino acid. So amino acid is having a carboxyl group and amino group. If we can find out the specific functional group in the protein structure, so that we can find out the drug target. Once we can find out the drug target, so in which we can find that drug will be bind with this receptor and it will give you the pharmacological action. So IR spectroscopy that we can use for the drug identifications and the target identifications. So there is a you know the two basic terms, either the pharmacokinetic and the pharmacodynamic. So we are talking about especially about the pharmacodynamic property in which the drug will interact with the receptor and it will give you the pharmacological actions. Okay, it will give you the pharmacological actions. So once we are targeting a drug, okay, once we are targeting a receptor, so the IR spectroscopy may be used for the detection of different kind of functional groups, okay, from this receptor that may be used in the drug discovery. Because it is made up of amino acids, so amino acid NH group is there, so we can find in the stretching it will be nearly 36, 34, 35 degrees, centimeter inverse, that is the wave number, and carboxyl group is having a carbonyl group and the C single bond O, so we can find out different kind of spectra in the different kind for the different kind of a protein structure. Okay, so there is a we'll start from the drug discovery, from hit identification, then we will go to the lead optimization, then we will go to the preclinical data, then we will move to the clinical data, okay, clinical evaluation. So it is a kind of a step by step. So this IR spectroscopy will not use for the preclinical, it will not use for the clinical data, okay, it will be used for the target identification. That this is the first step, identification of disease by modulating the target protein. So it may be used for the diagnosis of the disease. It may be used for the detection of a target protein. Okay, that may be useful. So this drug discovery is completely based upon the ligand-based discovery and the structure-based drug discovery. Okay, in which we use different kind of softwares like QSAR modeling, computational software, or we are determining the molecular profiling, we are determining the molecular modeling, or in silico drug designing, or molecular docking. Okay, so these are the used for the drug discovery process. Okay, so this IR spectroscopy is used for the detection of a different kind of functional groups. Okay, so like if you want to know about the structure of a protein, okay, so this is the main thing. So IR spectroscopy is used mainly a stabilized technique, especially for the analysis of a protein structure. Okay, in protein is what the amino acid is covalently linked with each other, and it will give you the polymer unit via a peptide bond, that is known as the amide bond. Okay, you can find out the multiple region, you can absorb this multiple region in the mid IR region, and you can find out the different kind of a functional group, like a amide group is there, or NH group is there, or carboxyl group is there. Okay, you can find out the structure of a protein. Okay, you can find out the structure of a protein by using of this IR spectroscopy. This is used for the protein detection, because protein is having a several structure like primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, or quaternary structure. So broadly we have to take about the if you are determining the protein quantitation, so we can use this IR spectroscopy. So like this is the graph. Okay, so if we have a amide, like amide is NHCO, CONH2, NH2CO, same thing. So if amide is there, okay, so amide 1, amide 2 may be there. So amide is having a C-O and NH group. So if you are getting the NH group in the regions of 3600, okay, this is the amide 1, okay, amide A. Okay, so it's having an NH stretching and C-O stretching, that will be nearly about 1600 centimeter, 1700 centimeter. So you can find out the different kind of a functional group which will be useful for the protein structure determination as well as the peptide concentration. Once you have determined the peptide concentration, once you have determined the structure of a protein, okay, by using of this peak height, by using of this intensity of height, you can between the different kind of structure also. It may be used for the non-invasive, means we are not giving into the body. It is kind of a non-invasive tools which is used for the blood glucose monitoring also, especially for the diabetic condition, in which it generally emits the IR radiation. By using of this, it may be used for the monitoring of the blood glucose level also. So this is the one kind of an IR spectra. There is double bond is there. If this is the fingerprint region, we will find out the banding region. So we can find out the different kind of a spectra, different kind of detection of a different kind of functional groups by using of this IR spectroscopy. Right? So like OH stretching is there, NH stretching is there, or CH stretching is there, or if the compound is having a carbon-carbon triple bond, like nitrilis is there, or carbenes is there. If alkene derivatives are there, like C bond O, C bond C, C bond N, okay, which having the double bond. So this is the alkene derivative. So we can find out the different kind of functional groups. So either you may get a weak peak, you may get a medium, or you may get a strong. Okay, it depending upon the relative intensity of the IR spectra. So if it is changing the more electronegative in nature, it will give the strong peak. Okay, if it is having a nearly similar or not difference in the negativity, it will give you the weak. Okay, so like this is the example of one butanol we have taken. So butanol, we should know the structure. So OH group is there. So you will get the OH stretching nearly 3400. You will get the CH saturated stretching nearly 3100, 2900 centimeters. You will get the C double bond O is not there. So you will get the C single bond O stretching. Okay. At nearly about 1100 centimeters. So you can find out that it is having a butanol. It may having a butanol structure. The second structure is having a dipropyl amine. Okay. Dipropyl amine. So you can find out the IR spectra, and you can, this is known as the IR spectra. This is we would like to interpret this IR spectra. By the interpretation we can find out the different kind of a functional group, especially for the in any compound, any complex compound may be there, any single compound may be there, or any other compound may be there, by which you can find out the different kind of an functional groups also. Okay, so this is all about the introductions of this IR spectra and how this IR spectroscopy we can use, especially for the drug designing and drug development. It is not only having a limitations of that applications. It is having a wide applications. It is having a wide applications. It may be used for, it is used for many kind of an applications. But our focus was completely based upon the targeting protein. We are determining the protein structure, especially for the drug discovery, especially for the drug development. Okay, only these were there. Okay, so but it is having a more applications. But only by using IR spectroscopy, you cannot find out the specific structure of a compound. So that will be useful, especially for the identification of a functional groups. So other techniques are also there, like NMR is there, mass spectroscopy is there, X-ray crystallography is there. Okay, NMR, in the NMR, NMR is there, or proton NMR is there. So which will be needed to confirm the structure, to determine the molecular mass by using of this mass spectroscopy, to know about the number of protons, to know about the number of carbons. Okay, we will use the NMR spectroscopy. Okay, in which the spin will be takes place. So IR spectroscopy may be used for the detection of different kind of functional groups. So this is my disclaimer. So this presentation is generally intended for the educational purpose only. Okay, some of the, it is not under with the plagiarism, because we have taken some kind of a spectra from the reported articles and all. Okay, so thank you so much all of you, and if you have any kind of a questions, you are most welcome. You can ask any question if you have, or you can find out me at my mail ID, that is the gurdeep06@gmail.com. Any question if you have, so you're most welcome. You can ask any question. If you have any questions, you're most welcome. You can ask in the chat box also, or you ask your teacher to unmute yourself. Sushil, you are talking about the branded drug. What does it mean of branded drug? You are asking any question regarding the branded drugs? Over to you, sir. If you have, if the student is having any question, you can ask the question on the behalf of student as well as the participants. Thank you so much for all of you for the patience listening. Yes, Anjali, are you asking something? Hello. Hope I'm audible. Yes. Hello.
Hello, all the participants, if any question, you can ask the sir. Any doubt, any question, you can ask the sir.
Whatever small questions may be there, okay, either if you are talking about even a small question, that is also welcomes, because I don't know what is the target audience, either maybe you in the first year or in the second year, maybe a final year also, okay. So just I ask you if you have any kind of a questions which is regarding to this
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I would like
Thank
to
you so
call
much.
Dr. I would like to call respected principal sir. You have continued your section.
Hello, thank you. Thank you very thanks to Dr. Udit sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your blessings.
Accepting my invitation to join this very shortly this program and busy schedule. Or I will say thanks to you. You have to join us to share your knowledge, vast experience. And this is the seminar is very beneficial to our students and faculty members, and as well as for me also. So this is the very grateful seminar to me, and also thanks. I don't give you any reward for you, just a token for you accepting the certification of appreciation and from Moli College of Pharmacy. Okay, thank you, Gurdeep sir. Please share your certificate. Hello. Certificate share karo.
Sir, just wait.
I think Gurdeep sir, you have a minimum time to spend with the students. I observed you completed your task in fastly.
Sir, principal sir, just we have shared.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Accept the token from Moli College of Pharmacy, Dr. Gurdeep sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Rupam sir, for blessing and for having a healthy interactions with the specific participants. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your cooperation. I request to all participants, we have another session, another speaker. The timing is sharp 2 p.m. So I request again all participants to have joined us at 2 p.m. Thank you very much.